the United Kingdom, historical buildings, the royal family, cups of tea, and fish and chips. It's also home to main event belts Daniel Ripley. So what is the Daniel Ripley story of how you got involved with wrestling and wrestling belts?
So the first wrestling events I saw were WrestleMania 4 and WrestleMania 5, and that were on VHS. And for some reason, I don't know how, but they ended up at my grandma's house, these videos, and that's what got me into wrestling. And then, obviously, on those videos, I saw the Winged Eagle, the classic IC, the classic tags. But I didn't actually know that you could buy replica belts until 2016. So up to that point, I was just collecting wrestling figures. Obviously, from being a young kid at WrestleMania 4-5, it was little Hasbro figures, and then it changed to Jakks Pacific. So that's what got me hooked as a wrestling fan. My first belt was a Sandu Big Gold, and it was the all gold version. I had it for about 18 months. For most of that time, it was just sat under my bed in storage. So I guess you can say I wasn't instantly hooked on wrestling belts until my friend showed me his new Orm Winged Eagle. And after seeing the leather on that, it just got me thinking that I needed to not only own one of those belts, but start learning how he made the leather look and how he does. So I began researching types of leather I needed and how to cut it and what with, what leather stamps I needed, where to buy them, what glue to buy, etc. Because over here in the UK, obviously, it's not as much of a prominent hobby like it is in America. So there's only certain places that actually sell it. And just as I was starting in this hobby doing leather, the Tandy franchise pulled out of UK, so it made it even harder. So I finally got ready to do my first re-leather, and as stupid as it sounds, my first re-leather was actually an NWA Dome Globe with this laced edging on it. So to say I started the hard way is a bit of an understatement. Anyway, it turned out pretty well. I was quite happy with it. And then by this stage, I was about 10 belts deep. They were all WWE replicas. I'd been to my first WrestleMania, took maybe 5 of the straps and got them all signed by Shawn Michaels and Razor Ramon and all my favourites from when I was a kid. So yeah, I was really hooked. Then COVID pandemic started, and that's when things got a little bit crazy. And now I've got maybe about 25 belts and got rid of all the replicas and started buying high-end bootlegs and real belts.
And you said before growing up you're a WWF guy, but your first belt was a Fandu Big Gold, so you obviously moved on to become more of a fan of the Big Gold. Do you have any specific memories of the original Big Gold belt?
Oh, as a kid, all I knew was the WWF. I didn't really know anything about WCW, so until Ric Flair debuted in the WWF in 91, first time I've ever seen Crumb Rhyme, and then it quickly went away, and then I didn't see it again until Booker T brought a version of it into the WWF in 2002. But now I know the history of it, I'd probably say Ric Flair and Hulk Hogan are the guys I'd associate the most with the Crumb Rhyme.
And you've obviously re-leathered a whole lot of real and replica belts. How does the Groovy G replica Big Gold stack up against the others?
I think the Groovy G Big Gold replica is probably the most affordable, competitively priced Big Golds you can buy. I think the size of the plates and the thickness of the plates is spot on. The rope border and the ruby holders are great. I like the texturing in between all the floral and the wriggle around the edge. Gives it its own character. The strap is what it is. Well, that's where leather crafters like myself and others come in, and can only hope that a dual-plated version might come out in the future, and some extra choices of nameplate would be good as well.
Well, people have been asking for a dual-plated version, and hey, you never know what you might get. Let's get into the leather though. What sort of leather have you gone for your re-leather?
I went with the traditional PW all gold style of belt with the black leather, black stitching, with the backing covering the stitching on the rear. The cut underneath the main plate isn't quite traditional, but I just thought it'd look cool. And I also placed the side plates a little bit closer to the main plate than what it was on the original belt. And 2x8 snaps on male and female side with my logo stamp and main event belts logo stamp to each side. And the reason I went with the traditional look was I just don't think an all gold version of this belt should be on anything but a black strap. It just doesn't look right in my opinion.
Now you've also done something a little bit different as well too. We saw the other day that Alvin Paul from Figure 4 Belts made his own custom nameplate. You've gone with a custom nameplate yourself because the nameplate on this replica is fully removable. Tell us about that.
I actually had much grander ideas for it. I was going to do a the Beat 1916 belt with Lex Luger, Macho Man and Sting logos on one side of the strap. On the other side, I was going to have Kevin Nash, Scott Hall as the outsiders, and then underneath that I was going to have a Who's the Third Man sort of thing going on, and then at the very end there were going to be like a Hulk Hogan stamp, but it didn't quite work out. The stamp maker let me down, so what you see is what I ended up with.
And that is still a cool concept for a leather strap. Hey, and that's the beauty of getting your belt fully re-leathered. You can put your own initials in it. You can put a company logo in it. You could put your favourite wrestler's initials or their logo into it. It really is up to your own imagination. Now, you and Gav Manel from Main Event Belts have got a bit of a business agreement going at the moment. If people want to see more of your work or see what styles that you can produce, or even want to just get into contact with you to see how much a re-leather will cost them, what's the best way of doing that?
Doing leather work for just over 3 years now. I've mastered all forms, so I can do Midwest, JMR, Wildcat, unstitched, unlaced leather work. Me and Gav are based in the UK, but we ship worldwide. We can do send-ins and send out crap. If anyone would like to make an inquiry for a new re-leather, catch me on Daniel Ripley Championship Belts on Facebook, or Gav Manel at Main Event Belts on Facebook.
And Gav from Main Event Belts does some fantastic custom belts. He has fully authorised versions of belts by Vader, Harley Race, Jake the Snake Roberts, the Young Bucks. Make sure you check out maineventbelts.com. Daniel Ripley, it's been great having a chat with you for this leather challenge.
Just like to say thank you for letting me be part of the Groovy G Big Gold Leather Challenge. You've done a great job with this first belt. I'm looking forward to seeing anything else that you may produce in the future. I'd also like to give a shout out to all the other leather creators that have taken part. All your work looks really amazing, and there's a lot of respect shown between the leather guys across the various groups and forums.
And that's absolutely true. The whole idea of this leather challenge was to connect you, the collector, with local re-leatherers so you don't have to ship your plates overseas. As Daniel mentioned, all of these leather guys get along, so if you're after specific colours or you're after specific cuts, they all talk to each other. So talk to your local leather guy when you want to get your Groovy G replica re-leathered, and they will certainly sort you out. Who is that?
I thought you were in these neck of the woods, so I thought I would drop in and have a chat.
It's Miles Lewis from Immortal Leather. Miles, you recently re-leathered the strap for Hazard F5, the YouTube belt guy. Now, what are your thoughts on the replica?
I'm really impressed with the Groovy G. I'll be honest, I've been a fan of the big gold belt for a long time, and I remember when the Fandu Lux came out, was it a couple of years ago now, thinking that this was the next best thing on the market for everybody to have, and that's a great belt in itself. Don't get me wrong, it has its certain quirks to it, but I think the Groovy G trumps it in terms of accuracy, especially the sizing and the shape of the belt. I've got both in hand. I have a couple of Fandu Luxes. I have the gold and the jewel, and I had the chance to compare them side by side, and I think that the Groovy has works that are superior to the Fandu, in my opinion. I like the texturing. I like the fact that you've got so many screw posts on the back, which holds the plates a lot tighter, and the overall shaping. I like the rope border around the edge a lot more than I do on the Fandu. So my initial impressions of this belt are really good, and I would highly recommend it to anybody who's looking for a top quality version of this belt.
Well, that's great to hear. What direction did you go with your re-leather?
So in terms of the cut for the strap, I decided to go with the AFX wide cut on it. So this would be the final version before it was retired. Will most noticeably remember this type of cut from the invasion angle when WCW invaded the WWF, and it was held by the likes of Booker T, The Rock, Chris Jericho cut angle, and then later Triple H when he took over reign as the Undisputed Champion. There was actually a different cut to this final version, and that was where they squared off the strap when Triple H was then reintroduced as the World Champion, I think in 2002 when Eric Bischoff gave it to him. But I went with this particular one just because is, I think, transition between the Attitude Era and the Ruthless Aggression Era, with the WCW guys coming in and the Big Gold making its debut in the WWE. I just loved that version so much, and I think having the wider cut around the plates offers so much more to the style of the belt, and it's a pleasure to work on. They're just absolutely lovely to do those straps, so that's the thought process behind that one.
Now, because you mentioned the bolts before, all of the bolts will be in the same spot because this is a replica. Will you be ever offering send-out straps for this Big Gold replica?
Personally, I don't offer a send-out service if I can avoid it, and that's not as a detriment because I think, doing a send-out strap is lesser than doing a full belt. I just prefer working on a belt with the plates as well. I feel that when you do send-out straps, there are more elements of room for error with those. If the whole placements are just a tiny little bit out and you haven't got the plates in hand to check them, you can effectively ruin the whole strap if that alignment's off and it doesn't work out. For me, another thing I don't like is giving a strap without the plates on it. Part of me feels like it's not finished, and so that's why I like to do it as one whole piece. But you never know, things could change down the line. Never say never.
And if people want a strap re-leathered by Immortal Leather, how do people get a hold of you?
So if people want to reach out to me, I do have an Instagram account. I also have a Facebook account as well. My Instagram is @immortal_leathercraft. I'm more active on Instagram than I am on Facebook. I just find that Instagram is a lot more free-flowing with people. The interaction is a lot better, and that's where I share a lot of my work. If people want to follow me on Facebook, I do have a group as well. It's called Immortal Leathercraft Studios. If you search that, and you can request to follow me on there or join my group, and I can approve it.
Well, Miles Lewis from Immortal Leather, thank you very much for joining us on an impromptu Groovy G Replica Belts Big Gold Leather Challenge. Now, folks at home, even though this isn't a competition, that doesn't mean there won't be a winner, and that winner could be you. Just by liking and subscribing to any one of the episodes in this series, you can win your own fully re-leathered Groovy G replica, re-leathered by the leather person of your choice. And if you've stuck around for this long, I've got a very, very special surprise just for you. Not only will you have to make the decision on what sort of leather cut you're going to get, you're going to have to make the decision on what sort of belt you're going to get. That's right, folks. Groovy G Replica Belts are proud to introduce the Groovy G Replica Big Gold Dual Plated Edition that is on sale right now at www.groovygreplicabelts.com. Be one of the first. Be quick. Stocks are limited. Thank you very much to all the leather crafters who have appeared on this program. Thank you for watching and subscribing, and also liking and commenting on all of the videos in this series. And I'll be back very, very soon to announce the winner of a fully re-leathered Groovy G Replica Belts Big Gold Replica. Until then, take care. It's bye for now.